Whether you're a coffee brewing veteran or new to the world of brewing at home, the sheer amount of coffee brewing devices on the market can be pretty overwhelming, and most of them are very specifically focused on one type of brew method. There are a few options out there like the AeroPress, the Clever Dripper, and the Hario Switch that give you some choice. But the Goat Story Gina aims at bringing you one brewer to rule them all, with the ability to brew using percolation, immersion, and even a Kyoto-style slow drip cold brew. It even comes equipped with a built-in scale that reads through the Gina's smartphone application, which includes step-by-step brewing instructions and a ratio calculator for my fellow mathematically challenged coffee nerds. So in today's video, we're going to take a look at the Gina, its brewing capabilities, and what exactly makes it a smart brewer. But before that, a quick word from this video's sponsor, NordVPN. NordVPN is a virtual private network provider with over 5,000 servers in 60 different countries. They're fully encrypted, they don't track or keep logs, and they have the fastest connection speeds on the market. Plus, you can use it on up to 6 devices, laptops, cell phones, and tablets on every major platform. It can keep you, a few family members, and friends protected, no matter where you are or what device you're using, as you browse, buy, and watch. And speaking of watching, no more region-locked videos on YouTube. And you can also watch what's available on other countries' streaming services by simply selecting a server in that country. I personally use NordVPN to watch UK Netflix, and for that extra added security when using online banking or crypto trading platforms. If you aren't already taking your online security seriously, there's no better time than the present. Head over to nordvpn.com/Sprometheus to get a 2-year plan with a huge discount, plus 1 additional month for free. Thanks to NordVPN for sponsoring this video. Before we get into brewing coffee, let's quickly go over the Gina from top to bottom. Up top, you've got a nice ceramic cover, which comes in handy in keeping heat in during immersion brews and keeping stuff out during those hours-long slow drips. The cover itself sits on top of the main ceramic body of the dripper, which is a cone shape and accepts any V60 style filters. At the base of the dripper sits the valve, which allows you to go from open to closed and anywhere in between. If you're doing a slow brew, this is the cold drip module. It contains a coarse metal filter, which resembles that of a French press. When in use, this module sits inside the tall, branded glass carafe that does a good job at keeping the heat in, and most importantly, pours nice and cleanly. All of this sits on top of the base, which has a built-in USB chargeable Bluetooth scale and a metal frame. If you've used a cone dripper, a Hario Switch, or something similar, this will all feel pretty familiar, and making a pour-over isn't much beyond the standard steps. Drop in a filter, give it a quick rinse, toss in the grinds, give it a quick settle, bloom, and then brew. For immersion fans, it's as simple as just closing the valve and then brewing the way you would on any similar dripper. Let it hang for your desired time, and then drop it out. And lastly, making slow drip cold brew is as simple as planning your ratio, filling the module, pre-soaking the grounds, and then setting the drip rate. Just make sure you plan ahead, because this should take you at least a few hours and up to 8 depending on your recipe. The application itself has some decent functionality, but it's a little clunky, and sometimes it has a slight delay in reading, but overall it works as it should. I also appreciate that it lets you use it as a guest without creating an account. Call me old-fashioned, but putting in my contact info onto something I'm brewing my coffee on doesn't really seem all that necessary. Regardless of the brew type I chose, the Gina performed as expected and produced nice, well-extracted cups. Of course, this isn't innovating in terms of brewing techniques or methods, but that's not what I expected from it, and it's not what they advertise. Instead, it does a good job of doing all the things it's designed to do, and it does all those things in a nice self-contained package. In the end, I think the Gina is a solid piece of coffee gear. It's aesthetic and has a wide variety of brewing capabilities. Its pricing at around $250 seems a little intense at first glance. But if you were to sit down and add up all the costs of buying a scale, a pour-over dripper, an immersion brewer, a cold brew maker, and a carafe, it starts to make a bit more sense. Of course, you could just hodgepodge all the pieces of this kit together and do it all for a bit less, but the other benefit, and what I think a lot of people are into, myself included, is having it self-contained in a clean way that doesn't take up a ton of counter or cabinet space. Also, the build and material quality feel above average for coffee gear. It's a nice mix of ceramic, glass, and metal with a small amount of plastic. The weak point for me on the Gina is the scale and the application, which are one and the same, because you can't use the scale without the application because there's no visible readout on the Gina itself. So as usual, as I wrap everything up, it's time I pass the questions on to you. If you own a Gina, I'd be curious to hear your thoughts. Is it something that you still use on a regular basis? And how's it been in terms of reliability with things like the scale and the app? And of course, if you don't own a Gina, I want to hear from you as well. Is it something that seems like worth buying, or does it feel like more of a novelty? Drop your answers to those questions and any others you may have in the comment section down below. And as always, I'll see y'all next week. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hit that little bell button for notifications of new videos posted every Friday. Check out my Instagram at Sprometheus for content throughout the week, my blog at Sprometheus.com, my coffee at littlegiant.coffee, and as always, stay caffeinated. Pony boy.